Welcome to Gaming Fin, your channel for everything related to the gaming industry and the stock market. And today we see actually at the Steam launcher, at the Steam store, we see a huge Paradox Interactive publisher sale. So this is actually for me a good moment to jump into the stock Paradox Interactive, the Swedish company. So guys, you see here, that's the chart. And the chart from 2016, I guess the IPO was done also sometime in 2016. When we see here, we see actually a very volatile stock on the first look. So, and a stock that was mostly trading over some sort of a trend line. So, little disclaimer: I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a retail investor myself, a YouTuber. This is for information and entertainment purposes only. Never buy any stock that you see in my videos. So. Guys, so Fibonacci retracement, everything is on it, trend line, everything is on it. So now we are way above this, and in November 21, we were kind of, I would say this is when we were testing some sort of a support line. So, but you see, very volatile, and also Paradox Interactive as a video game stay-at-home pandemic stock, as they call them. So I don't think we should call them like this. Of course, Paradox Interactive had a nice run up to 320 Swedish crown. So if you always ask yourself, what's the Swedish crown? So 10 Swedish crown is $1. So I think that's a very important metric that you need to keep in mind. So if you now, for example, buy it for 187 Swedish crown, so then you would say that's like 1870 US dollars. So is the stock cheap for this? No, of course you have to look at the market capitalization and everything else. So we see a market cap of 19.758 billion Swedish crown. So, and then dividend, we also have a dividend of 0.53%, and we have a price to earnings ratio of 58, and that's where I personally say, ooh, that seems to be expensive, especially in this market situation where we have a Nasdaq that completely got killed, let's put it like this. So a lot of high-tech stocks in the US have been had a terrible two month, and their PE ratios went down very nicely. So therefore, I would say, yeah, would I buy now a company with such a P ratio? On the other hand, it's a little bit diversification. That's what I always say: diversify to also to Europe, diversify to maybe Sweden, to another currency like the Swedish crown. So all of this makes sense. So all of this makes sense actually if you want to build a greater portfolio. All right, so that's the chart. The chart overall, maybe it could be, or maybe could be. So a lot of conjunctives here. For me personally, I wouldn't invest at the moment because I don't like the chart technique and I don't like the PE ratio, but I like the company overall. I think it's an interesting company. And if we should see the PE ratio going down, if we would see also the chart price, the price in general coming back to more to the trend line, then it also gets a little bit more interesting. So, all right, so Paradox Interactive. So let's jump to Yahoo Finance very quickly. Missed, beat, and then we had beat. This was last year, and we're also going to look at this very quickly, and then next second quarter is then in August, and we will see if there's a beat. And do we have any more information? The current average, so 190, 187. So analyst price target is more or less the same, but it's always not so clear if this has been updated. Of course, you have to look Paradox Interactive in comparison to other maybe Swedish gaming companies like Embracer or like Evolution. So then it would make more sense to look at the parameters. So welcome to Paradox Interactive. This is their main page. So everything looks fine here. Nice, so a nice tab for investors, our games, our company. And you see here already the publisher weekend is live. They make a good publicity for this. Stellaris, Crusader King, City Skyline. So those are games that people know. So Paradox as a publisher, we publish both first-party and third-party games built on our brands. As a publisher, our responsibilities include funding, producing, marketing, selling the games that we publish. Interaction with our players happens in all areas of the company, but our publishing arm has the primary responsibility for customer content and growth. Okay. So Paradox Studios and World of Darkness. So Paradox Development Studio and World of Darkness is a transmedia entertainment brand encompassing a number of modern fantasy horror franchises, including Vampire, Masquerade, Werewolf, The Apocalypse, and through tabletop role-playing games, video games, board games. So that's a mix of a lot of different things, if I understand this correctly. So Paradox Development Studio, that's the main publisher where they create their games. Also here we see a very nice World of Darkness web page, so with a lot of information. You can buy a t-shirt, etc. So that's very cool. Alright guys, so let's jump to the interim report, January-March. So there was a beat, and this is the fourth quarter. So interim report, here we have it guys. So revenues amounted to 476 million. So it's always crowns, and increased by 31% compared to the same period last year. So growth, it's a growth company. Operating profit to 208, also increase of 125. This can mean different things. So this is always an indicator you have to look a little bit more in detail. So profit after financial items amounted to 207, and profit after tax amounted to 168 million crowns. So what is this? Is this always last year? No, very confusing. Cash flow from operating activities amounted to 236, and cash flow from investing activities minus 157. By the end of the period, cash amounted to 671, and earnings per share before dilution amounted to 1.6, and after dilution 1.59. Okay, I like this, that's positive. Revenues in the quarter are mainly attributable to City Skylines, Crusader King 3, Europa Universalis, Hearts of Iron, and Stellaris. So Crusader King 3 is released on Xbox Series and PlayStation 5. Crusader King 3 hits 2 million sales mark, that's good. New downloadable content for the following games, and then then after the end of the period, no significant event. So maybe I would suggest guys that we don't want to make this video too long. So release in the periods, here you see the games, release in the periods. So, and also all of those financial overviews. If I'm just giving you the numbers now here, you cannot really work with it. So it's always important that you go a little bit more in detail yourself there. But I wanted to just show you the operating margin of 44%. This is, I guess, okay for in comparison of the peer group. And profit margin 44%. So I like this actually. I like this operating margin figure. And then of course we normally have to go a little bit more in detail. But since I'm not a financial advisor and I'm not an accountant myself, so I'm not the absolute expert, obviously, to read into those numbers, but I'm working on it. So for me, it's more important to get an overall overview about those companies. So comments by the CEO. So we have had a good momentum in 22 with important reinforcements of our gaming portfolio. More specifically, the first month of the year have been characterized by deepening our important strategy and management games with both small and large releases. Simultaneously, we have been able to broaden our strategy portfolio with a console port for Crusader King 3, which helps our valuable grand strategic genre to reach new audiences. The quarter's releases and good cost control results in the highest profit we have ever had in a single quarter. This testifies to the strength and of our business, and that the changes we are making have an effect. The result shows that we are on the right course, although there is a conviction throughout the organization that we can do even better in the long term. Currently, we have, in my opinion, the strongest, most focused pipeline in the Paradox history. There are certainly never any guarantees in game development, but the titles we are working on right now consistently show great potential. At the same time, we continue to build a smaller and significantly more experimental portfolio of small titles that contain several interesting ideas with strong potential. So a lot of talking. What I like is that they're actually coming with their strategy games to the consoles. That means they can create more revenue there, so they're not just too much, let's say, nowadays you have to be on the consoles with your games. You have to, even if it's a strategy game that you normally would play with mouse and keyboard, you have to bring those games to the console, because then you need to make the money also there. So let's put it frankly, bluntly like this. So what is the most important here and now, however, is to dig where we stand and continue to develop our fantastic live games. It is these games that our fans love and the new players continue to discover, and it is these games that give us the financial muscles we need to evolve. So very important aspect. So we need live games, we need continuously operating games, not games that you just buy one time. No, it's a game that is more or less working in the cloud, and then you're playing, and then you can buy some maybe also some products for the game, so some DLC. In 2022, we will therefore focus on increasing the development cadence of new content for our live games. Mainly, this will enable more big releases, but will also increase the release cadence of smaller content packages that we now know many players appreciate and that add an additional dimension to the games. I'm a person, I like DLCs. I like also a little bit microtransactions when I have a game that I really love. So that's important for me. If I don't like the game, then I'm also not going to buy the DLC, obviously. We continue to work smart at the studio level, ensure that the right experience is available in the development teams, and ensure that there is a focused development plan as well as resources to deliver on it. As always in our business, it is a marathon and not a sprint, and we strive to make the result visible as soon as possible. Finally, time to get together. During the pandemic, we had a large influx of new players, and we see that they generally continue to play our games. Very important for everyone that always thinks like video game stocks are just pandemic stocks. Even though we had few releases in 21 and that fewer people are isolated in their homes due to COVID-19, for me this shows the strength of our games, as there is always an opportunity to come back for new experiences, and if we succeed in increasing the pace at which we release new content, it provides a foundation for increasing our revenues. It is very gratifying that we not only keep our players, but our monthly active players continue to increase in numbers even of the pandemic. Monthly active player, MAPs, or monthly active users, MAU, so like Activision Blizzard is using this term. It also means that the very important community around our games continues to grow, which creates a good foundation for future growth. In the future, we will put even more effort into taking care of our players and into improving and strengthening the community they build around our games. This is done in many ways, but an important step is to welcome players to a physical PDX-Con on site in Stockholm in September, and I'm really looking forward to finally getting together. The quarters will continue to vary. That's very important. That's for every video game company. So sometimes you have a major release in one quarter, and then you really have a good of make a lot of, you have an important cash flow. Let's put it like this. And then you have again another quarter that's not that good. So, but I still end the period in a positive state of mind. I'm really excited about working with strong organization to realize Paradox great potential. Woo! So we up. And then I wanted to show you something else, my friends, that I thought was very interesting. Ownership structure. So Invest AB. So we have one big investor here, 33%, and then another big 17%, and then we have Tencent with 10%. Tencent is also invested in Paradox Interactive. You see again those Chinese companies like everywhere. State Street, Swedbank, so BNP Paribas. So a lot of banks are invested into Paradox Interactive. And Paradox Interactive was listed on Nasdaq First North Growth Market Premier on the 31st of May 2016. The purpose of the listing is to provide fans, employees, and other investors with a genuine interest in the company and its games to take part in the company's excitement. So all of this is very good, guys, but now have a last look at the games. Do people actually like the games? So Stellaris, very positive, 91,000 user reviews. Guys, this is a lot. City Skylines, very positive, 144,000 user reviews, still a lot. Then Hearts of Iron, 131, very positive. Crusader Kings, 49,000 user reviews, that's not so much, but also still very positive. And then upcoming games, Victoria 3, Crusader Kings Fate of Iberia, and then Own It All, you can buy it and all here, the whole bundle. So you see, those games actually are positive. So Paradox Interactive, Development Studio, Crusader Kings Official. So that's nicely done. So So therefore, I have to say I'm impressed by Paradox Interactive, how they organize everything. And I'm sure this will reflect also in the price of the stock at one point. So as I said, for me at the moment the PE ratio is too high and I don't like the chart. But of course now you would say, yeah, then Mr. Ernst should read the financials more closely. Yeah, I read what I read is decent, so it's definitely good. But for me personally, I'm not buying the stock now, but I have it on my watch list, so that's very important. And if I see an opportunity here, I might bid a little, a small stake in this company. Of course, very small because I have a very diversified portfolio, and I already have a lot of gaming companies in my portfolio. All right, guys. So I hope you got some information out of this video. So you found out, you got some information about the new company that you might have not really heard about. So because most people always hear about CD Projekt, Activision, Blizzard, etc. So but there are also smaller companies in Europe. So thank you very much for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.